This is Hereward the Woke, returned from the dead, to dispatch Normans like Jacob Rees-Mogg to their well-earned grave. So what happened this week? Italy's father of tiramisu, restaurateur Edo Campion, died this week, aged 93. Tiramisu is a coffee-flavoured Italian dessert. It is made of lady fingers dipped in coffee. As long as they're not Gemma's Collins, I don't mind. Laid with a whipped mixture of eggs and sugar. After eating that lot for 93 years, no wonder he died. Well, he's tested it out, hasn't he? So it must be safe to eat then. Or perhaps it kills you when you reach 93. Whilst COP26's moment of truth arrived as the world met for the climate summit, some of the delegates found the climb to the summit too much for them. Boris passed out 5,000 feet from the summit and had to be carried down in an oxygen tent by Greta Thunberg, who had been dancing around on the summit, effing and blinding. Did Vikings and their stowaway mice beat Portugal to the Azores? Asked The Guardian this week. Clearly not having enough excitement after Halloween. This theory does, however, explain why the Azores has mice, but doesn't explain why they haven't got any Vikings. Someone else pegged it this week. Dr. Aaron Beck, the cognitive behavioural therapy pioneer, died aged 100. 100. He's bloody showing off, isn't he? However, Dr. Beck didn't manage to stop the worst behavioural problem that people suffer from: death. Dr. Beck would have lasted even longer, but he had an annoying habit of pigging out on McDonald's and cheap wine whilst lying around all day watching rubbish TV. Now to someone who isn't dead yet. Apparently Robin Hood Freddie Flintoff stole tech and gave to the poor when working at Woolworths. Since becoming a wealthy media personality, Flintoff has stopped giving away money, probably because it's his own. Because of Flintoff, the poor can no longer shop at Woolworths because it went bust. He had to stop playing cricket when he started to give away 6s and 4s to the opposition. Leave our pick and mix alone, you bastard. We also learned this week that frozen semen from the 1960s has repopulated an extinct species of cow. Just one of the many delights you can discover at Iceland's, isn't it? It's that bloody Kerry Katona. She makes the stuff in the kitchen, doesn't she? Another fact emerged this week. There are more than 900 foreign criminals, including murderers, robbers and rapists, on the loose in the UK. The government is looking for lorry drivers and butchers. Well, there's 900 of the right sort of people who are looking for something to do, Boris. Donald Rabb employed a convicted drug dealer to drive him around in a lorry. And as the Tories are trying to stop the expulsion of a convicted Tory MP, why not make all their friends in prison members of Parliament? Nigel Farage, bless him, went bluefin tuna fishing in Cornwall this week and thanked Brexit for the opportunity. Oh, why don't we all thank God for Brexit? Nigel can go fishing for tuna. Whoopee! Well, we can all sleep easy at night, can't we? He didn't say he caught one though, did he? He'll probably try to sell it to the French so he can top up his European parliamentary pension. Perhaps he'll take on French sharks next and get eaten, which will be an even bigger triumph for Brexit, won't it? This week, a COVID victim aged 98 was dissected at a freak show, charging people $500 to watch without his family's consent. Next time you decide to donate your body to science, make sure it's not a mad scientist or one of Donald Trump's scientific advisors. Before you know it, they might shoot a bolt of lightning up your ass and you wake up on the set of Rust as an extra who fires guns at the rest of the cast. Well, that's America for you. Whilst English defence leader founder Tommy Robinson didn't go fishing, but he was turfed out of a chicken shop called Wing Kings after he complained about discrimination. Well, he's the man who should know all about that, isn't he? I think there must have been a misprint and the shop was actually called Wan King. This week, a police bomb disposal team was called after a World War II shell was left out with the rubbish by an elderly resident in Manchester. They expect you to bloody recycle, but when you do, the bin men start running around like headless chickens, don't they? Saying, what do we do with this, everybody? Here are some suggestions, some clean suggestions. Maybe send it back to Germany, saying, you left this one behind when we Brexited. Put it through the old Diz letterbox on November the 5th, or put it in with all the refuse and bury it for another 100 years. That will probably happen. Now for a bit of filth. This week, a Russian porn star claimed she had been jailed for 2 weeks for flashing her buttocks in view of the Kremlin. Now, if this were Westminster, and the girl was the topless Extinction Rebellion activist, she'd be invited down to the members' bar and glued to a fucking pole, wouldn't she? Randy old buggers would probably spike a drink, wouldn't they? Now back to rubbish. Rubbish collections could suffer Christmas crisis as drivers opted for better paying jobs. Like MPs, I suppose, or policemen. So sadly, we're going to be deprived of the sight of bin men in Santa Claus hats on December the 26th, telling you that the tinsel should have been in the general rubbish and not in with the bloody cans. It's aluminium. No Christmas tip for you lot. Someone will come and stand right next to me, whined Ed Sheeran, as he revealed he avoids public urinals as too many fans attempt to sneak a peek at his manhood. You should be so lucky, mate. That's the general idea, isn't it? You can't pee standing in the bloody doorway, can you? Moan, moan, moan. At least it's not so small that they can't see your willy head. The problem is when photographers start using flash photography, isn't it? If you've got a really small one, why not wear a Jeremy Clarkson mask when you're having a pee, mate? I've heard he's overcompensating all the time. Poor old Boris is facing a third probe over Wallpapergate. The Prime Minister is under threat of another inquiry into his lavish Downing Street flat revamp. Old Boris has been probed more times than an alien abductee, hasn't he? Old Boris has been probed more times than an alien abductee, hasn't he? If he gets probed any more, he'll have to have corrective surgery and a mesh implanted. Gutter Press found yet another bizarre COVID side effect that caused a woman to strip naked inappropriately and wash her clothes in the loo. Ed Sheeran would bloody love her, wouldn't he? Is that why that woman keeps flashing her bloody knockers on Extinction Rebellion protests? This week, the TV star Stanley Johnson said, "My great-grandfather married a 14-year-old white slave." Turns out Granddaddy was a paedophile. I'd have kept that one bloody quiet. These Tories are a brummo lot. They don't seem to bloody care, do they? I can imagine Boris saying to the country, "Don't any of you dare to have any underage sex, particularly with your slaves," and then going on and doing it himself. "We must be on a warlike footing to save the planet," said white slave owner Prince Charles on his visit to COP26. Indeed, Prince Charles will be waging war against wild plants, badgers, pheasants, grouses and foxes on his vast estates in Cornwall and the rest of the UK, which he refuses to rewild so he and his mates can go shooting. Whilst the jolly old Metro explained what golden penis syndrome was and why it's ruining dating for young women. Golden penis syndrome is what happens if you sit in one of Salt Bay's restaurants too long, apparently. Finally, a woman found a terrifying zombie-like mushroom with eyes and mouth on a woodland walk. Come on, woman, give the mushroom a chance. At least he's not down your local disco spiking your bloody drink, is he? This has been TWTW's Hereward the Woke, fighting in the culture wars to save the planet.